What's going on, Jerome? It's beautiful Tuesday. Birds are chirping and stuff, and it's time for another Vikings news dump. So, J.J. McCarthy, meditation, no breathing. Actually, lots of breathing in meditation. So it's like the opposite of Papa Roach. Anyways, but I can't wait because it's sort of been slept on. J.J. McCarthy pregame when he was at Michigan, getting some breath work in, visualization. Before the national title game against Washington, sitting in front of the goalpost. I mean, him before every Vikings game, pregame, it's going to be good. And also just the before the Super Bowl, just in, out, just all of that before the Super Bowl, in front of the goalpost, 75,000 cameras right in front of him. It's going to be good. It's going to be good, man. And finally, Sleep Number actually has like a good spokesperson or a good story to tell, as opposed to, hi, my name is professional athlete XYZ. I need my rest, and the Sleep Number bed helps me get my rest. So buy Sleep Number bed. I don't know. J.J. McCarthy's good to go. Also good to go. So draft month is upon us. God, I forgot it's April 1st. I hate April Fool's jokes because they're so stupid. Oh, here we go. I remember Greg Jennings. I will never. This is why I dislike Greg Jennings, and it's literally very petty, but I don't care. So Greg Jennings, after he was done with the Vikings, may have been a year after, been a different team, but he was just like, hey, I'm going to announce what team I'm going to sign with. Oh, has a professional athlete ever done this? And it was April Fool's, whatever. No one wants to sign you. Yeah. Anyways, April draft month fundraiser. So we like paying it forward, during these times of year, whether it's in season, whether it's draft. Draft is very busy. All Venmos, Cash Apps, Super Chats donated to Twin Cities and Seoul, South Korea adoption charities and support organizations. So we ran through the story. I was adopted, something near and dear to my heart, and it's still a very arduous process. And lots of kids would love to be with loving families. Lots of families that, for whatever reason, sometimes they can't have kids on their own. Sometimes they just want to grow their family. Like, they want to adopt. It shouldn't be this difficult, right? And there needs to be more resources to be able to make these connections, because I'll say, like, hey, I got a pretty good life here, even though I have a very white name. Get stopped by TSA a lot. Great family, great kids, and great whatever this is with the Jeromes. Wouldn't happen if I wasn't adopted. I would just be some poor kid from Busan or Seoul or whatever. So that's what we're doing for the month. Goal for the month is 2,500, currently at about 350 for the Loch Ness Monster. So I'm sure that it'll grow and show throughout the month. So thank you for paying it forward. Donation links are down below. You guys are the best. So it is the NFL owners meeting, West Palm Beach. Kevin O'Connell, the Wilfs, as well as Kwesi adofo-mensah down there saying stuff and things and stuff. Now, we went over the main quotes about Kevin O'Connell talking about Rodgers, as well as J.J. McCarthy yesterday. And basically, like, it's J.J. McCarthy's job to lose, right? And what it came down to, Rodgers contacted the Vikings, not the other way around. And then Kevin O'Connell was just like, no. So it's JJ show, etc. And he said this with Tom Pelissero, Will Raggett's. Kevin O'Connell, quote, I really don't look at JJ McCarthy as a rookie. He's going to be a first-year guy competing and hopefully ends up being our starting quarterback, and he's in a great position to do that. And, of course, all of the hedging, all of this stuff. It's like, well, he's got to earn it. We're not going to name him quarterback one, and JJ McCarthy wants it, and he will. Because guess what? Improved offensive line, running game, all the weapons, all the coaching, even more enhanced Flores defense. Everything is coming up Millhouse for J.J. McCarthy. And he's going to get all the first-team reps during off-season training camp. Preseason, if they play the starters, and he will enter the season as quarterback one. Knocking on all the wood, God willing. I think that he will have as large of an impact as Jaden Daniels did last year. Absolutely. Also, so rap sheet on the Pat McAfee show, quote, it feels like J.J. McCarthy is for sure the Minnesota guy. But I was told by Diana Rossini that we Vikings fans have to come to grips that Aaron Rodgers will be the Vikings quarterback. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry that us fanboys can't use logical reasoning, just like critical thinking. Yeah, we just have to listen to what the Athletic says, no matter what, and then pay your $1 a month. Yeah. The conversations that have been had this week already seem to emphasize that even more. I mean, I feel like rational Vikings fans like they understand like Rodgers is way past his sell by date, and it was always going to be JJ McCarthy's show. If they're really concerned about JJ McCarthy, they would have brought back Darnold. They would have brought back Daniel Jones, and if they really wanted Rodgers, he would be there. They have the means and the motivation, but he isn't. So JJ McCarthy is quarterback one, which I'm glad we're finally coming back to that. Also, with Rodgers. So Rodgers thrown at UCLA with DK Metcalf, work on some chemistry. Blitzburg been a great resource throughout all this drama. Mike Florio thinks the Steelers could have an agreement with Aaron Rodgers already, but they'll wait until training camp to sign the deal because, God forbid, an old quarterback who needs to learn a new system, new teammates, new coaches, God forbid that he puts in that work in the offseason, whether it's an off-season conditioning program, building up some camaraderie with his future teammates, building up chemistry with his receivers and O-line and OTAs and mandatory minicamp. God forbid that happens. So we'll just wait until training camp, and we'll try and throw it together in a couple weeks, and we'll take the field because why would you ever do more work to try and be ready for the season, especially at the start of the season, right? Why would you? Ridiculous. Something's not ridiculous is Kwesi and his extension, still working things out. Alec Lucy, Athletic. Vikings owner Mark Wilf told beat writers that the team has had very, very positive conversations with GM Kwesi adofo-mensah's representation. Wilf on if an extension is coming, he wants to get it done. Yes, it is. And of course, Kevin O'Connell extended. Kwesi, they're going to get things done. I do think that Kwesi does have some significant leverage at this point because of how the Vikings roster has been constructed. 14 wins last year with Sam Darnold, maybe the greatest free agent class in NFL history. This one, doubling and tripling down on needs, so you can go BPA in the draft. It's going to be good to go. So whether it's pay, whether it's guarantees, whether it's years, whether it's allotment of salaries for quants, this is my quant, my quantitative. He won a math competition in China. Yeah, that's exactly what Quake's doing. But it'll get done. There had been speculation early on that, Kevin O'Connell signing his deal early, Kwesi remain unsigned. Like maybe Kwesi's losing some personnel power to Kevin O'Connell. But Kevin Seifert, ESPN, who's not Carl Gershman, so they reported this early that it's not the case. Everything is still according to Hoyle. Vikings owner Mark Wilf confirmed what we've written this offseason. There will be no formal shift in personnel power authority between GM Kwesi adofo-mensah and Coach Kevin O'Connell once adofo-mensah's contract extension is complete. So it makes sense, and I feel like the separation of church and state is good because Kevin O'Connell just loves too much. Like he would still want to have Kirk Cousins here. He would still want to have Sam Darnold here. Just pay them whatever. I'm rolling with my guys. And Kwesi holding the checkbook. No. It's like when we go grocery shopping with your kid. Like the kid just wants the candy and all that stuff, and the parent is like, okay, maybe all right. So maybe Starburst. Yeah, come on. Yeah, we'll see. But also, I think that they do have a good working relationship because they actually talk to each other, unlike Zimmer and Spielman at the end. Plus, I love it. So Zimmer just had no time for Kyle Sluter, right? And I love that at the end of their run, the Vikings needed a backup quarterback. I think it's during the Rona years. And Spielman just signed Sluter just to piss off Zimmer. I respect that level of pettiness. It's great. But Kevin O'Connell, Kwesi obviously have a good working relationship because they communicate, and it is a collaboration. It isn't this is my job and this is my power. No, whether it's Kwesi, Kevin O'Connell, Flores, the other coaches, personnel, I mean, everything seems a little bit too perfect. You know what I mean? We'll see. Yeah. Also, speaking of the Vikings, Mark Wilf talking about how basically they just want to build a very welcoming organization, which certainly helps retain players as well as attract free agents. Quote, we want to make sure our players know they can come to a place where buildings and facilities are A1. Their families can be taken care of, and they can hone their craft and maximize their potential, which is exactly it. And there's a reason why the Vikings have always been 1 or 2 in those NFLPA surveys because obviously, cash rules everything around me. Cream. The money is the money is the money, but everything else in terms of like quality of life and quality of day to day matters. If you have good facilities, if you have quality food, if you have quality trainers, quality weight room and facilities, all of that adds up. Because you may think that it's small, and sure, Does it give you a 0.0001% chance of winning better? Yeah, I mean, certainly does. But also just all the things that are easy, making sure that players' families are taken care of, making sure that they feel comfortable in the community. Guess what? That makes them want to stay here. And maybe in contract time, maybe they leave a little bit on the table because, hey, I don't want to leave this amazing organization with amazing teammates, with high character, high values across the board. There's no turds in the locker room except for the bathrooms, except they automatic flush because our facilities are nice, and everything like that. And also, U.S. Bank Stadium is still one of the best stadiums in the National Football League. Vikings fans loud and proud, except for the home opener against the Niners because half that freaking stadium was red. I'm still mad. Still a bit upset by that. But yes, all of this matters. And again, you should thank Vikings fans need to thank their lucky stars because the Wilfs are very, very good owners. And you look around, Jerry Jones, you look at the Bidwells, you look at Jimmy Haslam. I mean, Daniel Snyder before he sold. There's just some ownership groups that are just incompatible with winning, right? And also, you look at the commies night and day. Daniel Snyder, just decades of nothingness, right? And then they sell to Magic Johnson's group, and all of a sudden, commies with Jay and Daniels, like the commies are going to be really good for a long time. They really are. And Washington's fan base, like they are diehard. They've been through some very tough times, and they're rewarded now. I mean, they're basically got out of the Daniel Snyder prison sentence, and it's pretty damn amazing. So ownership matters. Ownership definitely matters in the National Football League, and the Vikings have some really good owners. There you go. Also, all right, so maybe this is why it's a good thing that there is separation between in church and state, because I still believe my conspiracy theory. It's probably not even conspiracy that the Vikings do have a wink nudge deal with jumping Joe Flacco to be backup quarterback after the comp pick window closes. But say that it's not Flacco, say it's not Tannehill. What about Kirk Cousins? Vikings fan page. If the Vikings look to trade for quarterback, Ben Gessling says he wouldn't rule out Kirk Cousins being an option, and he's a name to at least keep it in the back of your mind. Quote, I still think a guy like Ryan Tannehill may be where they end up going, but if they were to make a trade, Cousins would be a name I would at least keep in the back of your mind. Now, first off, you're not trading anything of value. Like at most, it would be a draft pick swap. That's it. And also, the Falcons would be on the hook for most of his money. You're not absorbing that contract. You're not doing it. You are paying Kirk Cousins the minimum because he's already taken enough gold out of the great state of Minnesota, right? And Cousins, if he comes here, he's got to know his role and shut his mouth. He is the backup quarterback. He's going to be the backup quarterback, and he's always going to be the backup quarterback. That's what it is, right? Also, here's what's interesting. So Cousins was starting quarterback here for 6 years. I don't think that there will be any factions. I don't think there will be a schism in the locker room. I don't think there will be some players like, well, I think Kurt should start over JJ. No, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't even think there's a portion of the fan base. But does Kurt know the offense? Yes. Does Kurt know the 16 Coles in the metro area? Yes. Does Kurt, could he fill in a pinch if that Achilles is good to go? Potentially. And that's all that you want in a backup quarterback. So that's it. That's it. Also, speaking of come back from injury, so Najee Thompson, it was kind of odd. So Najee was out of training camp, and obviously there's no injury reports in training camp, but it was a knee. But even before the start of the season, their thoughts that, okay, Najee Thompson's going to be back. He's going to be back on the 90. He's going to make the 53, etc. But then season-ending injured reserve had knee surgery, and I mean, full details aren't out, but apparently it was a pretty damn serious knee operation. And Najee's been documenting his comeback season on the gram, and he put this out yesterday, sprinting on the treadmill. It's great to see. They said it's not likely to play again, and I think just reading the tea leaves, maybe we'll get the full story in training camp, but I mean, this could have been like a really serious knee injury, potentially career-threatening. But I'm glad that Najee's on the mend. I'm glad he's on track to be back in 2025 because special teams ace. Love this guy, man. Yeah. Najee Thompson, Tavier Thomas. We're just be getting after things in special teams. I love it. Something I also love. So NFL Global Market Programs 2025 announced. So a lot of these are the same, right? So the Vikings are with Canada and the UK, which is hilarious given the UK's history with Vikings. But yeah, it's so silly. Like, how come we're not expanding into like Scandinavia? Because that's pretty straightforward, right? Also, so Ghana. All right, so Ghana is the Eagles again. And it's really odd because the Vikings have Kwesi adofo-mensah, who's of Ghanaian descent, and he's the only NFL GM in history of Ghanaian descent. Brian Asamoah is also of Ghanaian heritage, and he does a lot of work with NFL Africa, NFL Worldwide. So you would think that, okay, so two prominent Ghanaians with the Vikings. It's like, oh yeah, let's just make that connection. No, here's the Eagles. Enjoy Jordan Mailata and Jalen Hurts, because nothing says Ghana like Cooper DeJean. Go ahead. Also, I like that the Chargers have Greece just because of the Spanos family as owners. It's kind of hilarious, but I don't like. Also, it bothers me because Japan has the Rams. No, Japan should be either the Panthers, the Lions, or the Jaguars because they love Hello Kitty. That's what it should be. All right. Or Mexico. What does Steelers have to do with Mexico? I get some of the border teams like Arizona, Houston, the Cowboys, etc., but I don't get it. Also, you know that Sean McDermott has to be mad that United Arab Emirates doesn't have the Bills. So that's it. Yeah, but either way, Vikings should be worldwide. Let's be honest here. Yeah, anyways. Also, this is a great development. Jordan Schultz report. The NFL is updating its uniform policy to allow teams to wear throwback or alternate uniforms up to 4 times per season. And I do love the throwbacks, especially one's picture. Like Seattle's throwback should be their full-time uniform. Same thing with the Broncos. The Eagles, so I like the Kelly green intermittently, but probably shouldn't be full-time. But what's great about it is that the Vikings don't really have throwbacks. Again, we bitched about this the other day. It's like, oh, the Vikings, we've been around since 1961. Our throwbacks are gray face masks. Like, it takes so little to make us excited. Just gray face masks are like, oh, they changed the stripe on the jersey. But also the Winter Warrior is really damn good. So we could get that a couple times a year. How about December, January home games in prime time? Automatically Winter Warrior. Let's go do that up. It's going to be good to go. The opposite of good to go. So the Twins are now 0-4. They have a ton of injuries. Apparently Buxton and Correa left the game yesterday against the White Sox. And also Royce Lewis is already hurt, but that's expected. But just want like a nice summer and just a little sweat, How about not a late season collapse? Where you collapse and die like a dying star, but being 0-4 against, the White Sox were potentially the worst team in baseball history last year. The Cardinals were projected to have the longest World Series odds of any team. So against what's perceived as the 2 worst teams in the major leagues, you start out 0-4. What's that make you? It's rough. Well, I don't know. I guess if Rodgers doesn't sign, we can have a full summer of speculation. Oh, did you know? No, like Twins, we wouldn't even want you to be good. Just be average. Right? Actually, just be bad, and then tickets will be really ass cheap, and maybe they'll impact the sale price for the poll ads. So there you go. All right. Or, tickets will be cheap. Everyone will come into town just to watch the other team. It's kind of how it is sometimes. Anyways, that's it. Vikings news dump on this beautiful, glorious Tuesday. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skol, production value.